beach stalker chased me down. This happened about 6 years ago when I was around 17. My family was on vacation. We were staying at a resort in South Carolina on the beach. The resort had 2 buildings, one directly by the beach and one across the street. We were staying in the building across the street. My cousin, my sister, and I decided to go and sit on the beach one night. It was probably about 9 p.m. There were usually a few people out walking or playing around. On this night, there wasn't anyone out there except a few couples walking by. We sat some towels down and watched the waves crash against the shore, just chatting and telling stories, really enjoying ourselves. We then noticed a man walking around us, going to the water, to the boardwalk, just back and forth as if he were confused or looking for something or someone. We realized he kept getting closer and closer to us until he was walking so close he stepped on the edge of our towels. He was a bigger man with shaggy blonde hair. My sister suggested we go down to the water to step away for a bit. We knew he was following us, so we made a plan and decided to leave. We walked along the path connecting the beach to the boardwalk and then made our way to our room. Like I said, our building was across the street. To get to it, you had to pass through a little alleyway. The alley was well lit and the street was relatively busy, but there was a parking garage adjacent to the alleyway. Something told me not to walk past that parking garage. We were facing the alleyway, about to walk through. This guy is still right behind us. I loudly said, "Hey, wait, let me get the sand off my sandals." We stopped and took our shoes and beat the sand out of them. The man seemed very reluctant to pass us. He was so close to us that he almost brushed against us. At this moment, my eyes met with his for the first time. He was definitely on something. His pupils looked fucked. His eyes were wide as saucers. He passed by us slowly and went directly into the parking garage. I knew he was waiting for us and I yelled out, "Run." We ran back onto the beach, through the sand to the next walkway, which led up to another building's pool area. He was behind us again, chasing us, running full force. We got into the pool area and the man stopped. There was a woman cleaning and we told her what happened. She got hotel security and a police officer asked us some questions and walked us back to our building. I was scarred by this experience for a while and I will not go back to the beach at night ever again. Come to my car. Don't listen to your mom. This story happened when I was about 5 years old back in 2009. My family and I would travel down to the Jersey Shore every summer. We never had any problems until this one specific trip down there. And since I was so young, my mom has helped me recall these events. When I was a child, I was very shy and kept to myself. And to this day, I still can't confront people or tell people off without choking up. So, I was in complete and utter silence when a girl around the age of 7 came up to me and asked me to play with her. I accepted and walked off with the girl to where her toys and stuff were. The part of the beach where she was staying was pretty far from where we were staying. It was around no one as it was at the very edge of the beach. Her mom was with the beach toys, but they had nothing else. No chairs, no towels, no umbrellas, nothing. Just beach toys. But of course, I didn't think this was weird. Me and the girl swam for I don't even know how long before her mom called us out. We went to the girl's mom and the mom told her daughter that she forgot to get the chairs and they need to go to the car to get them. The girl obliged and asked if I wanted to go to the car with them to get the chairs. As I said before, I was very shy, especially around adults, so I hesitated and said no. The mom then began to put her hand on my shoulder and started leading me to the parking lot. The girl's mom still has her hand on my shoulder and says, "Oh honey, it's okay. We need all the help we can get. We have a lot of stuff." I started to panic and said, "No, I think I should get back to my mom." I don't know how and I don't remember how, but somehow I calmed down and started walking with them, willingly. But that's when my mom starts to dart down the beach, screaming my name. She was yelling, "Get your hands off my daughter now." My mom was still pretty far away, but not far enough where you wouldn't hear her. The girl's mom straight up ignores my mom and tightly grabs my arm and walks faster. The girl's mom looks at me while still practically pulling me to the parking lot and says, "Don't listen to her. Just keep walking." Now, I was stupid, but not that stupid. I began to cry and said that I didn't want to help anymore and I just wanted to play. The girl agreed and she began to look frightened too. My mom caught up to us, ripped me out of her grasp, and ran off. My mom was crying and called my dad to tell him that she had found me. I remember looking back at the girl's mom and the girl, and her mom was just staring at me. Not moving or anything, just staring. The girl did the same, but she looked scared. In no way do I blame the girl in this situation. I believe the mom was trying to take me for God knows why, and she told her daughter to make a friend and bring them back to her. For some reason, I remember being mad at my mom because I just wanted to play with my new friend. As a note, I just want everyone to know that anyone can be dangerous and to never walk off with anyone you don't know or feel comfortable with. Hunted like an animal. This happened to me a couple of months ago. I'm a military veteran and I have PTSD and anxiety as well as a pretty bad case of depression that I'm currently in my 3rd year of. I've read that cognitive behavioral therapy can massively improve PTSD symptoms and in turn help to reduce anxiety, so I've been trying various techniques at home. The problem is, my wife and I live in a small 2-bedroom ground floor flat with an upstairs neighbor that has absolutely no respect for other people. A jock douchebag type who's a personal trainer that also trains at home too. The kind of guy whose only 2 topics of conversation are protein powder and steamed rice. I'm sure you can imagine the type. Anyway, with that being a constant issue, meditation and quiet mindfulness are just not possible with the constant noise. My solution to this was to do my normal routine during the day, but take advantage of my insomnia later on. At around midnight, I would put on my coat and my shoes, and as we live near the beach, I figured I could walk to the beach now that there's pretty much no people around. Just walk on the sand and be mindful to the sounds of the ocean. Sounds nice, doesn't it? The walk to the beach from home isn't that far, maybe a little over half a mile, but once I got there, I would walk to the very end of the beach, up to the cliffs. When I would get to the cliffs, I would sit there and stare out into the blackness of the midnight ocean, which was only broken by the occasional flash of light from the lighthouse. I would just sit and listen to the waves. Sometimes I would close my eyes and just concentrate on nothing but that sound. I felt safe there, knowing I was alone, just me and the ocean. Usually before I turned tail and head home, I would walk down to a small row of benches. They're all marked with plaques in remembrance of someone who also came and enjoyed the view. The benches are close to an old pub that was shut down years ago, and I had heard the place was used as a brothel back in the day or something. So when I saw the vehicle headlights coming towards the pub, I figured it was some young lads trying to have fun. I sat on the bench and waited for the car to pass me. But as I rounded a bend in the road further up, I was momentarily lit up by the headlights. The headlights of the vehicle went off immediately, and the car went off-road and out of sight for a moment. At this point, I was fully alert and a bit cautious, so I dropped to one knee and ducked behind the bench. The vehicle drove past me. It was only maybe 40 feet or about 12 meters from me, and as the lighthouse illuminated the vehicle, I can now see it was an old beat-up Land Rover kind of vehicle with shitty camo paint. At that moment, someone popped out of the top of the vehicle with a scoped rifle and a big torch. In that instant, in my head, I was back in the field and my senses felt razor sharp. I dropped prone to the ground and crawled into a patch of long grass adjacent to the benches. Then I got into a position where I could see them, but they couldn't see me. The guy with the rifle shone his torch at the exact bench I had been sitting on, then the others, searching for me. He started looking all around him through the scope, looking for where I might have gone. My heart was pounding so hard I felt as if they could hear it. I held my sleeve over my mouth to muffle the sound of my breathing. The vehicle started to move to get a better view of the benches, so I started slowly crawling towards the main road, as not only was there a row of houses, but a sheltered bus stop I could take cover in if they saw me and opened fire. After about 5 minutes of hiding in the long grass, it started to rain, and they were still clearly looking for me. The guy with the rifle was scanning around with his eye down the scope, so I waited till he was looking away for me to seize my moment and run for cover. I pushed my hands hard into the wet dirt to launch myself onto my feet. Then I sprinted towards the bus stop. Luckily, they hadn't seen me and I was now far enough away that I could take out my phone and call the police. They were there with a riot van and a squad car in about 10 minutes, and as I was talking to the officers in the van, they spotted the gunner's vehicle and took off after them. The officers in the squad car stayed behind to talk to me. The rain was coming down in sheets by now. They asked me if I was absolutely sure it was a rifle, and I told them yes, I was 100% sure, no doubt in my mind at all. The officers both looked at each other and then began questioning me, asking me what I was doing there after midnight, which is a pretty fair question to be honest. I explained that, quite ironically, I was taking a mindfulness walk to ease my PTSD symptoms. They were satisfied with that explanation, if not somewhat amused, and told me that the armed response unit was en route. I asked if they needed me to stay behind and make a statement, but the officers told me not to bother waiting around because they most likely wouldn't need to take a statement beyond the call I made. And also, it was pissing down with rain, so I should get home and get dry. It was over, but I still felt super wired, and my heart was still thumping hard in my chest. I began my walk home, and when I was about halfway there, a police helicopter buzzed overhead and settled over the area where I had been sitting on the benches with the searchlight going. It was right then it hit me like a shotgun to the chest. That happened. That was fucking real. My head started swimming, my heart was pounding twice as hard, and now my legs felt like jelly. I couldn't breathe properly. I dropped to my knees, crying in the street in the pouring rain, the only light coming from a nearby street lamp with a flickering bulb. I was gasping for breath, thoughts flashing in my head, thinking that if I had stayed still, if I hadn't hunched behind the bench, if I had done any number of things differently, then I could have breathed my last breath alone in the dark in the cold, wet dirt, and my wife would be none the wiser till the following day. I have no idea if they were even there for me or not. It's not like there's animals to hunt there beyond foxes, but why hunt foxes from a vehicle with a rifle and a torch at midnight? Anyway, I'm not ashamed to say that that experience terrified me. I guess my army training helped me stay alert and stay hidden, but I don't really know. I don't go walking around at night anymore, and I have the occasional nightmare about the whole thing.